Super Mario Maker has been a game that a lot of people seem to think is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. It was really popular on the Wii U, and not even like relative to the Wii U. Now that's pretty impressive. And because it was such a good idea for a game and so many people liked it, it seems like a Nintendo Switch version of Super Mario Maker should really happen. But there are also some reasons why it might not be ideal on the Switch, and the fact that we haven't heard it's happening at this point might not be a good sign. So is Super Mario Maker on the Switch actually going to happen? Hello all 655 of you, I'm Redkwan, and is Super Mario Maker coming to the Nintendo Switch? From what I've seen, most people think that Super Mario Maker on the Switch, in some form, is pretty much a sure thing, but I don't really think so. You might say, well Redkwan, if everyone thinks one thing and you think another, doesn't that mean you're probably wrong? And that's a pretty reasonable thing to say, seeing as this is coming from someone whose name is Redkwan, but their profile picture is blue. Not exactly a spitting image of credibility. But while Super Mario Maker was successful on the Wii U, I don't know if it would be a great idea to move it over to the Switch. I will say that putting Super Mario Maker on the Switch, at the very least, has a lot of upsides for Nintendo. Either way they would try to do it. If Nintendo wanted to do Super Mario Maker as a port of the Wii U game, which I think would make a lot of sense, it is a pretty low effort switch over, and will almost certainly sell well enough to make a good chunk of cash. If they wanted to make a full sequel to Mario Maker, they can really promote it as being a new game for the Switch, and again, it would probably sell really well. If Super Mario Maker was able to sell as well as it did on the Wii U, even when it came out at the tail end of the system's life, on a system that already had a true 2D Mario game, it would only make sense that a Switch version, which would avoid all those potential drawbacks, would do incredibly well. But if it would be such a big success, why don't I know if it'll happen? Well, there are a few reasons. For one, Super Mario Maker was really designed as a Wii U game. That's what it was made for, and that's where it fits best. The Wii U used the gamepad as a touchscreen to design the courses of the games, and it made the process very fast, easy, and fluid. The Switch doesn't really work like that. Sure, the Switch does have a touchscreen, and it's a higher quality one than the Wii U's by a long shot, but it doesn't work quite as well for a game like Mario Maker. The Switch has a touchscreen, yes, but it also needs to be able to work in the dock, and there's no way Nintendo would release a first-party game like this and have it basically only playable in handheld mode. It would need to work on the TV too, and maybe I'm just crazy, but I feel like it'd still be hard on the Switch without a stylus like the Wii U had. Yeah, I'm probably crazy. Super Mario Maker on the Nintendo Switch could theoretically work on the TV if you use standard controls or try some weird gyro magic, but I don't think it would be nearly as intuitive. There are a few other things too. It might sound weird, but to me, Super Mario Maker feels like it belongs on the Wii U. It doesn't really feel like a Switch game, I don't think. The Wii U is often a place for a bunch of Nintendo's wacky ideas to be tried out, and I think that's kind of what Mario Maker was. It just doesn't feel like the type of game Nintendo would be putting on the Switch. I'm not saying that that would be a big reason Nintendo would decide not to do a Mario Maker on the Switch, but it just seems like Nintendo's strategy and priorities are in a different place now than when Mario Maker was released. And also, a lot of this situation depends on what's happening with 2D Mario on the Switch. Will there be a new Super Mario Bros. Switch? That could be the big factor in all this. Based on how Nintendo has handled the Switch up to this point, I personally don't really see it happening. But at the same time, a new Super Mario Bros. Game has come out on every Nintendo system since the DS. They've sold really well, and they can't be all that difficult to make. But it all kind of goes back to the same issue. The Nintendo Switch audience is not the audience Nintendo was used to having on their old systems. I think the Switch audience is a lot more into bigger and better games than on consoles like the Wii U. So while the new Super Mario Bros. Series has been successful in the past, I don't think it would do nearly as well on the Switch. And if there isn't a new Super Mario Bros. Game, that really impacts Super Mario Maker. Because for one, no new Super Mario Bros. Game means that the 2D Mario hole is wide open, and Super Mario Maker becomes the best option to fill it. But if there isn't a new Super Mario game on the Switch, that also reiterates the idea that Nintendo is treating the Switch differently with their game offerings. It's all a little complicated. When it really comes down to it, Super Mario Maker was a great Wii U game, and while it probably would work to some extent on the Switch, it probably wouldn't be an ideal fit. Between the Switch docked mode issue and 2D Mario as a whole being pretty up in the air with this new approach from Nintendo with the Switch, it might not happen despite it being a great game. Do I think it'll happen? I'm not sure, honestly. I'd probably lean toward yes. I do think it'll probably still happen, seeing as it would almost certainly do really well, and so many people are still talking about it. But I could definitely see it not showing up after all, and you know, maybe that isn't so bad. Sure, it's a fun game, and I don't think anyone would deny that it's a great idea. But I don't really like thinking about Super Mario Maker becoming a series. It seems like everything Nintendo wanted to do was done in the first game, And sometimes a one-off idea is the right way to go. But yeah, if I were to guess today, I think the Switch will probably get some form of Super Mario Maker at some point along the line, and I would guess it would be a pretty standard port of the Wii U version. Although I could definitely see the game not coming to the Switch, just due to it being not as great of a fit as the Wii U. Well, I'm Redkwan. What do you think about Super Mario Maker on the Nintendo Switch? Man, I feel like my recent scripts just haven't been that great. I don't know what I'm doing differently, but they just feel like they're sorta convoluted now. Maybe I've just gotten more stupider. Anyways, I'm Redkwan, thank you all for watching, and I'll hopefully see you all later. Goodbye.